Hey everyone, this is Chris with Flat 6 Motorsports, and today I'm going to be showing you on this beautiful 991 Turbo how to replace your air filters. Now to do this procedure, you're going to need to pull off your rear bumper. In this scenario, we have our lift behind us, which we're going to use to raise the vehicle up and give us more access in the wheel wells, but otherwise you don't need a lift to do this procedure. You just need a couple of common tools. Now to do this job, you're going to need a T25 torque socket, a T30 torque socket, a T20 screwdriver, and a 7mm socket wrench. Now before we get started, we need to pop the rear lid here inside the car. And we also need to raise the rear spoiler so we have access to the bolts underneath to remove it. Now to get access to the bolts underneath the spoiler, we need to remove these little trim covers right here. What you're gonna do is you're gonna squeeze them kind of in the middle and wiggle them until they pop loose, and they're gonna go right down into where the duckbill is. So now that we've got access to the screws, we're gonna use our T30 bit in order to loosen the bolts that hold the wing on. And now with both of the screws removed, we can get the wing off. You just have to slide it forward a notch and then it'll come right up. Now with your wing removed, the next step is gonna be lifting up your engine lid, and we need to remove all the covers here. So we'll start with the center cover. Now your fans might come out with the trim cover like the left one did, but they might also stay in the car. Just remember you have this connector underneath that needs to be unplugged, and then you can remove the fan fully. So now that we have the center trim removed as well as both fans, I'm gonna go ahead and pull off this trim cover right here, and I'm gonna use it to wedge my hood open because the struts on this car are old. The next thing that we need to do is we need to remove the two T30 screws that are holding on our duckbill. Now before we remove the rear spoiler, we need to disconnect the third brake light. That's gonna be the smallest connector over here on the passenger side. Just squeeze and disconnect it. To remove it, you're gonna need to disengage it by sliding it forward, and then it's gonna come straight up. Now using a T25 bit, we're gonna remove the tail lights. There's just two screws on each one that holds them in. And once those screws are loose, we can go ahead and slide the tail lights out. Now we remove the tail light to expose the T30 bolt on either side that holds the bumper to the chassis of the car. So go ahead and remove that now. And now we can finally remove the T30 screws that are on top of the bumper up here. So now we've got all the work done up top, removing the spoiler as well as the lights and all the screws on top of the bumper. I'm gonna go ahead and lift the car up now, but if you don't have a lift, you can just jack it up and that should give you enough room to access the screws in the wheel well. So we're almost ready to remove the bumper. Before we do so, we need to disconnect the connectors on the left and right side. There's 2 over here and 1 over here, and these control the license plate lights as well as the parking distance sensors. So this is best done with 2 people because you're gonna struggle trying to remove this bumper by yourself. I'm gonna have my wonderful assistant, John, help me out. Thanks for helping us, John. Let's go ahead and get this bumper off. So with the rear bumper removed, we can finally see our airbox. The cover is going to be held in by a series of T20 screws. There's about 6 of them on this airbox. And then there's also 2 hose clamps over here, and we're going to loosen those using a 7mm socket. And now with the clamps loosened, we can go ahead and pull these off of the airbox. And finally, we should be able to pull the cover off the airbox. It's gonna pivot along the top, and then we'll be able to remove it. Don't forget this vacuum line over on the right side, and there you are. Now, of course, we aren't gonna replace the factory paper air filter with another paper one because here at Flat 6 Motorsports, we like going fast. So we're gonna be installing a BMC high flow air filter. And this is gonna help us unleash some horsepower and get some more air through the car. So once you've got your air filter installed and the airbox lid installed, you can go ahead and tighten down the T20 screws that hold it on, as well as the hose clamps for the intakes on either side. Then you'll want to reinstall the bumper and the wing. But for now, we're going to leave this bumper off because we're going to be doing a whole nother set of mods on this 991 Turbo. So stay tuned because in an upcoming video, we're going to be installing intercoolers as well as an IPDY pipe and plenum. We hope you enjoyed today's video. Subscribe and follow along the channel and check us out at flat6motorsports.com. We'll see you in the next one.